I've just completed the 75 hard challenge, and in this video I wanted to go over what the 75 hard challenge is, why I chose to do it, the journey of the challenge, and the results. So what is 75 hard? It's less of a fitness challenge and more of like a mental toughness challenge. The rules of this challenge are to follow a diet with no cheat meals and no alcohol, to do 2 45-minute workouts a day, one has to be outside, to drink a gallon of water a day, read 10 pages of a non-fiction self-development / entrepreneurial book, and take a progress picture every single day. If you miss one of those things, you have to start from day one again. And the challenge is a 75-day challenge. So those are the rules. I chose to follow this diet, which I talked about in previous videos, and I'll leave a link in the description below with the list of books that I read during this period. You have to read 10 pages of a physical book. So what I did every day was read 10 pages of a physical book, but sometimes I also added an audio book depending on what I was doing in my day. But the 10 pages has to be of a physical book. I can kind of see actually why it has to be of a physical book and not an audio book, because you're taking that time to like be really mindful in the act of physically reading. You can't do anything else but read, whereas when you're listening to an audiobook you can pair it up with like working out or going for a walk or a run, so you actually have to be like really present to read a physical book. So I get why they've put that rule in rather than just listen to an audiobook. Anyway, so that's the challenge, and I chose to do this challenge because for the past 10 months I've been working on improving my health, improving my fitness, improving my nutrition, and I got to a level which I've previously got to before. So in the past, like 6, 7, 8 years ago, I went on a journey of health and fitness, and I had got to this level, and I got to the level and I was like, right, I'm happy now, I'm happy with this level. And then the slack starts to come in. Oh, I just have that, I'm okay, I'll just eat that, I'll just do that, I'll just miss that workout. And all of those bad habits that I had previous started to fall back into place, and I didn't want that to happen again this time. So I wanted something I got to this level and I'm happy at this level, but I don't want to start going backwards. So I wanted something to push myself to continue to make progress, to move forward, and to not fall back into old habits. So the challenge. There was a lot of lessons that I learned during this time. So the first lesson, actually, I learned before I even started the challenge, because I'd done my fitness, I'd gone on a snowboarding holiday, and I'd given myself the start date for this challenge as the 20th of February. And I chose this date because I knew I'd spend 2 weeks of snowboarding, and then I wanted to come back and have like a recovery week after snowboarding, and then I wanted to start the challenge. That was the date I chose. And I almost didn't start on that date, because in my head I'd had, right, I'm going to be in this location, I'll have all my gear with me, I would have got all my food ready, and I can then just start on this day and go for it. That didn't happen. I ended up being in Torquay for like reasons out of my control, and I didn't have everything prepped ready to go. And I thought, oh, it's okay, I'll just start tomorrow. But then I thought, no, this is half of the lesson. You said you're going to do it, and you're going to start today. So that was lesson number 1, is just to do it, to just do it no matter what the circumstances are, just get up and do it. And I'm so glad I didn't wait till the next day to start the program, because that in itself was such a great lesson. To just start, to just do with what you have, and it's a lesson that I took from when I started 10 months ago, when I started walking the 10,000 steps. Just start with what you have. I had shitty old trainers that like had no soles on the bottom, and I started walking in those because I had nothing else. Just start is the lesson, and it just reiterated that lesson in my head to just just go with what you got and make it work. So that was lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is a lesson I learned about 3 weeks into this challenge, and realizing that this happens a lot in other areas of my life. And what I do is I jump all in to something, especially if it's a challenge or like an idea or something. I'll jump all in and I'll go hard. And for the first 3 weeks of this challenge, the rules were 2 45-minute workouts, which a 45-minute workout could be a walk, it could be a weight workout, it could be a yoga session, it could be a swim, it could be a surf, it could be a bike ride, it could be any form of exercise, basically. And I thought, right, I do a 45-minute walk in the morning, and then I come back and do a workout, and then I do a 45-minute jog or run or walk in the evening. So straight away, I've changed the rules and I've put it to 3 workouts a day. Like, why go that extreme? Like, why do I do that every single time? When I start something, I just go all in to a level which isn't sustainable. So 3 weeks in, I was like tired and overdoing it, and if I wanted to complete the challenge, I just had to stick to the rules and not go above and beyond, which I try and do all the time. So that was lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, show up even when you don't want to. And this is something that not just this challenge has been teaching me, but the past 10 months is you really just have to just get up and get on with it. And even like a few days ago, I really didn't want to go for a run. I just really couldn't be bothered to go for a run. And it hasn't, and over the 75 days, there's only been a handful of days where I thought, oh, I just not do it. And having that accountability for the 75, knowing that I'd have to start again, like, was a real good way to, like, on, for example, day 70, I really couldn't be able to go for a run. Is it going to be harder for me to go for a run, or is it going to be harder for me to start from day 1 again? It makes no sense not to go for a run. Do you know what I mean? It's that lesson of why are you even questioning going for a run when you know that you're going to have to start from day 1 again? It doesn't make any sense. I went for a run, and I actually quite enjoyed the run while I was out there. And it happens all the time. Every single time it comes to a moment where I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do a workout. I can't bother to do that. As soon as I do it, as soon as I start that motion, why did I even question it? Like, there's definitely some sort of psychological, like, barrier that it's like trying to bring you back to your old habits. Like, it's that time. The more time you spend thinking about the thing, the more likely it's going to be that you don't do that thing, because you're justifying why you're not doing that thing, rather than just, oh, I can't bother to do a run, as I'm putting on my trainers, as I'm doing my warm-up, as I begin my run, and then it's over. Like, it's over before you've even had chance to justify not doing it. Do you know what I mean? So that was lesson number 3. Just show up. Even if you don't want to do it, even if you don't want to be there, just show up, get it done, get it over with, and the feeling you get afterwards is so much better than the feeling you would get for not doing it. I absolutely hate sprints. Hate them. But every time I do them, and every time I complete them, I feel so fucking amazing. It's like, the harder you do, the harder something is, and the more you achieve it, the better you feel. You kind of just have to do the hard stuff to feel better. There's no easy way out. It's really simple when you look at it like that. Lesson number 4. Lesson number 4. Right. let me think of a scenario. A year ago, you fucking idiot, what the fuck are you doing? Why don't you just fucking get off your ass and fucking go out for a run? You're fucking lazy. That's how I would speak to myself. I would literally say that out loud to myself. Like, how toxic and how negative is that for me to be talking to myself like that? I wouldn't go and say that to my mate, so why am I saying it to myself? I think the way that we talk to ourselves is probably one of the most important things, because we're talking to ourselves all the time. And now I've noticed such a change in the way I talk to myself, because when I'm struggling, or I can't be bothered to go for a run, or I'm feeling lazy, or I'm feeling lethargic, I'm like, right, George, it's okay. It's okay to feel this way. Look back to where you were a year ago, and now look at where you are today. You're doing the work. You're doing it. You might not feel like doing it, but you know, once you get out there, you are gonna feel better. So just go and do it. And it's so much better talking to yourself like really justifying that, and it helps when you know you're doing the right things. Like before, when I was in that environment that I was in before in my head, it was like I knew what I needed to be doing, yet I didn't do it, and then I got angry at myself for not doing it, and then I reacted to myself like that for not doing it, which then led me to feel led me to feel worse, because I was like having that negative talk to myself, and then I'd go and eat like a bag of crisps or a pack of biscuits or something like that, and that whole cycle is just so toxic, it's unreal. And now realizing that and being in the position like that I'm in now, the way I talk to myself now, especially over the 75 days, because there were days where it was hard, and there were days that I could have quite easily not done it. Only a handful of days, and then I'd be like, well, actually, like, if you don't do it, George, what's that achieving? Like, you've worked so hard, and you're gonna just give it up because you can't be bothered, or you're not feeling 100%, or do you know what I mean? But it was the way I spoke to myself in a nicer way that set me up for, like, yeah, it's okay that you haven't been for a run yet. You still got 3 hours left of the day, plenty of time to go for a run. Don't worry about it, you got this. How much nicer is that than, fucking idiot, fucking get off your fat fucking lazy ass and get out there and go for a run? That's literally how I used to talk to myself. It's crazy. Lesson number 5. To start with, those 3 weeks where I was obsessive about it, I had a really regimented structure, and this is, again, for me, it could work for other people, but for me, it doesn't fit with me. And I could see myself going down a path where literally, if I wasn't sticking to this structure and this regiment, I'm going to fall off and I'm going to lose it, and it's not going to work. But I can't work at a sustainable rate with that much structure, because of who I am. I can't focus, and I can't. It works for a while, but then I get obsessed with it, and then, like, one thing's out of place, and then everything's messed up, and I can't function like that. I don't want to function like that. So having a loose structure for me personally works. Like, I know, right, I went from this, right, in this, like, that regimented, to just having that and having to tick it off. Because Mondays to Fridays, when it was more of a routine, that worked really well, and I knew those days I would have no problem. The weekends where I was out adventuring, away in the vans, doing other things than the normal, not like Monday to Friday, I allowed myself the freedom to do those things as and when fitted in with that time frame. And I think that's the good thing about the 75-day hard thing, is because it's not realistic to be that structured and that routine every single day of your life. And to make it sustainable, you have to be able to have those the ability to, like, so for example, I would wake up in the morning and I'd read my 10 pages straight away before I even get out of bed. And I changed that day 2, because day 1 and day 2, I was like, oh, I'll just read my 10 pages every night when I go to bed. I was knackered by the time I was getting into bed, and reading 10 pages was an actual struggle. So I thought, right, that's not going to work. Let's change it. I'll read my 10 pages in the morning. Weekends, I was so much more flexible. If I woke up and read my 10 pages, great. If I woke up and went for a run, that's fine. Come back, afternoon, hammock, 10 pages. Like, I just knew I had to get it done. So it didn't matter when I got it done, I just got it done. And that was a really nice feeling. Working out with Kerry on the beach, and working out like outside, or just wherever I was parked up, that was so nice. Because before, this was a barrier that I had before in myself, was it had to be set up in a certain way, or it had to be perfect, not perfect conditions, but it had to be the way I wanted it for me to be able to do it. We parked the van up, I've worked out on the sideway, I've worked out like on a field, I've just gone on to OS Maps from wherever we've parked, and I've worked out a route where I can go and run. And that is I think for me, that is the most important thing, is to be able to just do it wherever I am with whatever I've got. Because that is something that I have in my head, like I need, like, it's easy when I'm here, it's easy because all of my workout stuff is out, ready to go. I don't have to set it up, I don't have to think about where I'm going to do it. I've got the space. If it's raining outside, it doesn't matter because I can work out inside. And for me, going forward, I'm going to be in the van more and more, and I need to be able to make this work going forward in the van. So being able to get out when it's absolutely pissing out down with rain, set up the equipment and do a workout in the rain, is actually quite, I did it the other week. It was raining, it was horrible, it was windy, and I just got out and did it. Did I enjoy it? I probably actually did. Long term, throughout the winter, these are the things that I need to start developing and growing, and I'm excited about it. I've kind of gone off on a tangent now. So I'll bring it back. So that was lesson number 5. Loose structure for me works. Having like just a very loose structure of knowing what you need to be done and ticking it off before the end of the day. That's a great way to do it. The results. Okay. Before and after result. These are the before and these are the after. I just took these measurements as pure interest in the data. At the end of I just want to see the data. I want to see the difference in the data after the 75 days. So those are the results, and I just think it's important to focus on the way you feel rather than the way you look, and the reasons you're doing this, the why behind why you're doing this. For me, this isn't about looking a certain way. It's about feeling a certain way. It's about having the ability to do the things that I want to do. It's about longevity. It's about being the best version of myself for as long as physically and mentally possible. Because at the end of the day, when we strip back everything, all we have is our health, our physical health and our mental health. Those are the 2 most important things that we have, yet we live in a world where these things are not, the most important things that we're focusing on. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind, and it doesn't blow my mind because I've been in that situation, because I know how easy it is to get trapped in that cycle, and I know how hard it is to start. But once you've started and once you're on that journey, it's hard. It's hard because I've been on that journey before and then I've stopped. And it's these lessons along the way that you're learning, that I'm learning, and being able to implement different things to help me to sustain this, because it needs to be sustained. Physical and mental health needs to be sustained throughout your life. Else what? So I did ask Instagram and Patreon for questions on this, and I got some really, really good questions. But what I wanted to do is a separate video. I was going to include the questions in this video, but I'm going to do a separate video, just a Q&A on 75-day hard, because there are some really, really good questions, and it will take this video way longer than it needs to be. So if you do have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll add them into the next video to answer any questions you have on the challenge. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.